Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be front and center. And you can watch this program through our Facebook page and YouTube channel. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You can hear this broadcast on our audio streaming at Evox PBS receiver app. And also you can hear this broadcast through our shortwave through following frequencies. That's 12.020 megahertz, 15.640 megahertz, and 17.665 megahertz. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Earlier at midnight, Benguet Provincial Police Office confirms the death of former Department of Public Works and Highways Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral in a falling from a cliff incident along Cannon Road in Tuba, Benguet. Initial reports reveal that she was found unconscious along the Bued River about 20 to 30 meters below the highway. And before Yusek Cabral's death, she was last seen by her driver yesterday afternoon as they traveled along Cannon Road towards La Union. And former Yusek Cabral asked the driver to stop in the Maramal area of Camp 5 and Camp 4 and requested to be left there. And several hours later, in the evening, the driver was unable to find and locate the undersecretary, which prompted him to report her disappearance before local police station. And responding personnel from Baguio City Police Office and Tuba Municipal Police Station later found Cabral's unconscious along the riverbank below the highway. And now we got information that Yusek Cabral has died due to that incident there in Tuba, Benguet. And just for a profile of the former Undersecretary of Public Works and Highways, Maria Catalina Cabral, she's a licensed engineer and earned her 2 doctoral degrees in business management and public administration. And she has built a long career in the Public Works Department until she was appointed as Undersecretary for Planning and Public-Private Partnerships. And prior to her undersecretary role, she served as an alternate member on the board of directors under National Irrigation Administration. And she entered DPWH as a civil engineering aide while completing her degree. And after passing the licensure examination for civil engineers, she started to rise from the ranks and was given important tasks in the department. And she holds 3 master's degree and certificates from prestigious universities in areas like data analytics, digital transformation, and AI. And Yusek Cabral also made history when she became the first female president of the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers, and she later served as national president of the Road Engineering Association of the Philippines. And the controversies are not the controversies involving her are the following, which particularly the facilitating the budget insertions, or as they call it, or some politicians call it, allocables. Because Undersecretary Cabral is among DPWH officials accused of facilitating budget insertions or allocables through the National Expenditure Program and has been recommended for administrative charges. And DPWH, or former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, has accused her fellow undersecretary of being part of a kickback scheme in the anomalous flood control projects that allegedly benefited lawmakers and public officials. And just last week, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, issued a subpoena for Cabral to attend its hearings. And authorities said that Yusek Cabral has not appeared before the panel before the incident where she died. And on December 11, just 8 days before her demise, the ICI said it will invite Cabral as a resource person in its investigation into anomalous flood control projects. And prior to that, ICI last month urged the Ombudsman to probe Cabral together with former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan and Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo for possible breach of the code of conduct and ethical standards for public officials over a 69.4 million peso ghost project in Plaridel, Bulacan. So the authorities are now investigating over what caused the incident where former Undersecretary or DPWH Undersecretary Cabral took her lives. Was she a victim of a suicide, or did she rather commit suicide, or someone did it? So we don't know yet the information regarding that, but nonetheless, that incident may affect the investigation because there will be Yusek Cabral has died, and no, and she will not tell any information because as a saying goes, dead man tell no tale. So the authorities will investigate this rather, and the ICI and as well as the DPWH has expressed their condolences to the families of Undersecretary Cabral as she was found dead in that river in the ravine in Tuba, Benguet. And but before we go to other developments here in the Philippines regarding the flood control project controversies, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. announced that the court issuance of arrest warrants against contractor Cesara Rowena Sara Discaya, as they call it, and 9 other individuals linked to the 96.5 million peso ghost of flood control project in Davao Occidental. So the president has issued or has said that the court has issued arrest warrants against these individuals involved in the anomalous flood control projects. And the chief executive said the accused, including several officials from the Department of Public Works and Highways, are facing graft and malversation charges, which are non-bailable. And the Office of the Ombudsman has recommended the filing of malversation through falsification in violation of Section 3E of Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act for their involvement in a 96.5 million peso ghost project in Davao Occidental. Other respondents on that case were Maria Roma Angeline Rimando, the president and the representative of St. Timothy Construction Corporation, as well as several officials of the Public Works and Highways Department. And also, the Supreme Court said the 2 cases filed against Discaya and engineers from the DPWH in Davao Occidental were transferred to the Regional Trial Court in Lapu-Lapu City in Cebu Province. And Discaya is under the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation, pending the issuance of an arrest warrant by courts where cases are filed against her. And President Marcos Jr. said 8 DPWH officials linked to the anomalous flood control project have also expressed their willingness to surrender. And the alleged ghost flood control project in Kulaman in San Jose Abad was awarded to the Discaya-owned St. Timothy Construction Corporation on January 13, 2022 and was declared completed in the same year but was never started. But anyway, we have a clip coming from the president regarding the issuance of arrest warrants against Sara Discaya. Let's listen in.
ang 96.5 million na ghost flood project sa Davao Occidental, naglabas na ng warrant of arrest ang korte laban sa 10 pangunahing sangkot dito sa anomalyang ito. Ang mga akusado ay nahaharap sa kasong graft at malversation. Ito pong mga kasong ito, hindi po bailable ito. Hindi pwedeng bayaran ang kanilang para sila'y makalabas sa kulungan. Kabilang na po rito si Sara Diskaya na sa kasalukuyan ay nasa kustodiya ng NBI. Bukod dito, may 8 opisyal pa ng DPWH ang nagpahayag na kagustuhan nilang sumuko. Ito po ay patuloy namin ang gagawin at simula lang po ito at patuloy namin imbestigahan at kakasuhan lahat po ng may kinalaman sa mga iskandalo na nakikita natin sa mga flood control project. At titiyakin po natin na hindi lamang sila ay makakasuhan, kundi maibalik ang pera ng ating mga binayad ng ating mga kababayan ay ibalik sa kaba ng ating bansa.
That was President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. And meanwhile, the Supreme Court on Wednesday said that the 2 cases filed against Sara Diskaya and engineers from the DPWH in Davao Occidental were transferred to the Regional Trial Court in Lapu-Lapu City in Cebu. That's we were mentioning about a few minutes ago. And the spokesperson of the Supreme Court, Attorney Camilo Ting, said this is in accordance with the court's guidelines, directing that corruption-related cases arising from infrastructure projects must be forwarded to the nearest designated anti-graft court of the nearest judicial region. And the SC previously designated several RTCs to handle anti-graft cases. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, through its spokesperson, Attorney Polo Martinez, said the move was initiated by the courts pursuant to the expansion of the jurisdiction of regional trial courts under Republic Act number 10660, which covers the structure of the Sandigan Bayan and other courts in corruption cases. And Diskaya remains under the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, pending the issuance of an arrest warrant by courts where cases are filed against her. And earlier this month, in December, Malacanang assured that the high-level personalities implicated in the misuse of flood control funds will be charged and arrested. Since we're talking about the accountability for contractors and government officials under DPWH regarding this flood control project controversy. And the Presidential Communications Office, through its Secretary Dave Gomez, said the Office of the Ombudsman is expected to file more cases before Sandigan Bayan after the first one filed last November 18 against former lawmaker Representative Zaldico and 15 others for a substandard flood control project in Oriental Mindoro. And President Marcos Jr. also said and emphasized the importance of building airtight cases to ensure that the charges will pass scrutiny and result in the conviction of the liable parties. And the Office of the Ombudsman filed the charges based on the evidence gathered by the Independent Commission for Infrastructure created by President Marcos Jr. and the DPWH. While President Marcos will see through the investigation as he initiated to stop the corruption in DPWH projects and hold accountable for those who abuse public funds. So that's what the Independent Commission for Infrastructure has made for. So they will be like the fact-finding commission, and at the same time they will be handling cases that they will refer to the ombudsman for further charges or for more hearings regarding this, so that they will come up with a resolution or a verdict against this contractors and government officials in the DPWH who have partaken in this flood control anomalies. And there you have it. So more developments here in the Philippines. We'll be discussing that to you just in a bit. But first, Front and Center. We'll be right back here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Paano nga ba mag-register para magkaroon ng schedule sa Bagong Pilipinas Presidential Action Center? Narito ang mga dapat gawin. Gamit ang iyong mobile device, pumunta sa eGovPH app. Pwede itong i-download mula sa Apple App Store o sa Google Play Store. Gumawa ng account. Ilagay ang email address, valid mobile number, pagkatapos ay makakatanggap ka ng one-time code sa iyong email. Gamitin ang code sa eGov app para sa verification ng iyong account at ng mga impormasyong ibinigay. Congratulations! Meron ka ng eGovPH app account. Pwede mo na ma-access ang iba't ibang serbisyo ng gobyerno kabilang ang mga serbisyo sa Bagong Pilipinas Presidential Action Center.
Mabilis ang trivia, dagdag talino. Heto na ang Dagling Kaalaman.
Alam mo ba, kumakain daw ng sarili ang ating utak araw-araw? Ang prosesong ito ay tinatawag na phagocytosis, kung saan ang mga cell sa utak ay nililinis ang mga sirang bahagi o sobrang koneksyon para manatiling maayos ang takbo ng ating isip. Kapag natutulog tayo, mas aktibo pa ito na parang garbage collector ng utak na naglilinis ng mga basurang selula at lumang koneksyon. At sa proseso ng paglaki, lalo na sa adolescence, tinatanggal ng utak ang mga hindi na ginagamit na koneksyon para mas maging matalino, mas mahusay at mas handa tayo sa adult life. Kaya oo, kumakain ng sarili ang utak mo, pero ginagawa niya ito para mas maging mahusay ka.
Kaunting kaalaman na malaking dagdag talino. Abangan muli ang susunod na Dagling Kaalaman.
Alright, and now we're back here on Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And before we close the discussion regarding the anomaly in the flood control project, the Commission on Audit has submitted 4 fraud audit reports, or FAR, before the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, detailing irregularities in 330 million peso worth of ghost flood control projects in Bulacan, and recommended the prosecution of those involved. So all 4 projects were implemented by the Department of Public Works and Highways in Bulacan, First District Engineering Office, and Wawaw Builders. That's what's the statement coming from the Commission on Audit, or COA, on Thursday. The projects involve 77.2 million peso contract for the construction of the Riverbank project in Malolo City in Bulacan. Similar project 1 in Barangay Malis in Giginto of the same province, worth 98 million, and 77 million million peso flood mitigation structure in Kalumpit, and 77 million peso riverbank project in the same city in Malolos. And among the individuals recommended for prosecution are engineers Henry Alcantara, Engineer Bryce Erickson Hernandez, Ernesto Galang, JP Mendoza, Engineer Paul Jason Duya, and Engineer Jolo Marie Tayao, Engineer Lemuel Efraim Roque, Engineer Jaime Hernandez, Engineer Lorenzo Pagtalunan, Engineer Emilita Morales, and also on the list is Engineer John Michael Ramos, Engineer Pacey Nicole Di Maano, Engineer Isha Lor Galang, and Engineer Sheena Bernadette Morales, as well as Mark Alan Arevalo of Wawaw Builders. So there you have it. So that we close the discussion regarding the flood control controversy, and we will be watching these developments as they unfold. As mentioned earlier, former DPWH Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral has died in the midst of the ongoing investigation in the of the government regarding this flood control case. And now there we are, the contractor, or the contractors of St. Timothy Construction Corporation, headed by Sara Diskaya and his wife, the Curly Diskaya, are now in the crosshairs of our authorities. And now Sara Diskaya is now in the custody of NBI. So we will be watching these developments as they unfold regarding this flood control controversy, so that government officials and contractors who amass a lot of money in public funds will be held accountable, and they will be jailed in our prison systems. In the meantime, let's switch to the topics regarding the budget season here, particularly the 2026 National Expenditure Program, or as we call it, national budget. As Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson welcomed the safeguards and transparency measures embedded in the proposed 2026 national budget, but cautioned that vigilance must continue even after its ratification to prevent abuse of public funds. That's what Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson said. He is warning the Filipinos to be mindful and be mindful of what is going on in the budget process, as there's rumors of budget insertions there happening. So he advised Filipinos to be watchful regarding these developments on the budget process. And Senator Lacson said the safeguards were secured through the efforts of the Senate panel in the bicameral conference committee led by its finance chairperson, Sherwin Gatchalian, which pushed for accountability measures amid criticisms and misinformation. And among the safeguards inserted by the Senate are the absolute prohibition of guarantee letters and any form of political endorsement or any form of political endorsements in all assistance program, the strict implementation of the medical assistance to indigent and financially incapacitated patients, or MAIFIF, under the Universal Health Care Program in compliance with the UHE law, and the conduct of monthly oversight in infrastructure and farm-to-market road projects, including the use of grid coordinates to allow easier monitoring by the media and the public. And that's a good initiative and good suggestion coming from Senator Lacson, so that every centavo that every centavo of the budget will be accounted for, and it will not be used in committing corruption in the government. So this is a good development that Senator Lacson is very concerned about our budget, and we should be concerned for when it comes to our budget and our money, because everyone has contributed to that particular budget, and that's a 2026 national budget. And also, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. remains confident, since we're talking about the 2026 budget. He remains confident that the 2026 national budget will be passed on time, before the year ends, rather. Following the conclusion of the bicameral conference committee deliberations by Congress. Attorney or Undersecretary or Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro said the President is confident that the final version of the proposed 2026 General Appropriations Bill will be transmitted to Malacanang on time and signed before the end of the year, rather. And the Senate and the House of Representatives ended the bicameral conference committee deliberations on the proposed 2026 GAA. I'm sorry, that's I mentioned earlier about the General Appropriations Bill. So, but it's not yet a bill, or rather, it's not yet been signed. But this is called the 2026 General Appropriations Act. But anyway, capping 6 days of negotiation aim at reconciling differing provisions of the budget measures and ensuring a transparent and responsive national budget. And the bicameral conference committee said, they winded up their work in the last 2 days ago, reconciling the disagreeing provisions of the 6.7 trillion peso General Appropriations Bill. And Malacanang earlier said that President Marcos is closely monitoring the budget process and has repeatedly emphasized the importance of a national budget that supports economic growth, social services, and priority government programs while remaining fiscally responsible. So in short, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Won't allow any reenacted budget, and he believes reenacted budget will have a significant, or not just a significant, but costly. It will be costly to our economy, because the budget will be implemented. That the budget will be implemented for the next year will be as same as the previous ones, or the precedent budget year. So President Marcos Jr. is not allowing that. And Congress is targeting the ratification of the proposed budget for 2026 and its transmittal to the chief executive on December 29. That's their target. December 29, they will be transmitting the proposed budget for 2026. And Senate Committee on Finance Chairperson Senator Gatchalian said in an interview after the bicameral conference committee meeting on the proposed funding for 2026. So he said that they will be transmitting that budget on December 29. And once transmitted, the president has until the end of the year to sign the budget into law, or exercise his line item veto power in line with the constitutional timeline. So it's going to be a busy 2 weeks for both executive and legislative, as they will be scrutinizing this budget, and they will review this bill once more before it reaches on the president's desk. And it doesn't end there. The president will conduct another review of the budget, so that he can see. He will find if there's any provisions there or line items that needs to be vetoed or it needs to be passed. So it's gonna be a long days ahead for executive and the legislative branch of our government. And meanwhile, the Senate majority on Thursday said the 2026 General Appropriations Act has set a new normal for transparency by opening the entire budget process to public scrutiny, from committee hearings to plenary debates and bicameral conference committee deliberations. The majority said the bicameral conference committee adjourned on Thursday after days of marathon talks, stressing the transparency was treated as policy rather than rhetoric, and they're very serious about transparency and accountability. So they are taking this to characteristics in as a huge consideration there when they are reviewing and deliberating the budgets from on the 2026 national budget. So as said earlier, it's going to be long days ahead for our lawmakers and the president to review the budget for 2026. Okay, but we don't have much time here on the program Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. But before we go, we'd like to thank our technical team who have accompanied us in the past 30 minutes. So we have here the Master Control headed by Mr. Milo Junela, and also on our Warcast we have Hiro Lucero, and he's overseeing the audio live streaming. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time here on Front and Center, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.